Okay, for this video lecture, so we will be discussing about financial measures of activity efficiency. Okay, so when we say financial measures of the performance, this should be provide us with specific information about the dollar effects of activity performance changes, or it means that it should measure the financial effects of the activities of performing those activities, okay, and especially if it has changes to it. So thus our financial measure should indicate both potential and actual savings. Okay, so potential meaning to say there is already a or an expected savings, okay, even before that particular activity was performed. Okay, and then actual, of course, is the measurement of the difference, okay, once the activity was already conducted. So financial measures of activity efficiency will include value added and non-value added activity costs, as well as the trends in the activity cost, because we are measuring here the performance in terms of financial aspect, okay, of the activity. Okay, so it also include Kaizen standard setting and benchmarking, as well as activity flexible budgeting and activity based management. So for this video, we will be focusing on value added and non-value added activity cost and the trends in activity cost. So the rest of this will be discussed in the next video lectures. Okay, so for reporting value added and non-value added costs, so here value added costs as described in our previous video lecture. So these are the only costs that an organization should incur because it adds value to the customer, to the product, and to the organization. So the value added standard calls for the complete elimination of those activities which are non-value adding. Okay, of these activities, so the optimal um, output is zero with zero cost. Okay, so here this is of course by eliminating those non-value adding and retaining only those which are value adding. Okay, so it also calls for the complete elimination of inefficiency of those activities that are necessary but they are inefficiently carried out. So therefore, although they are necessary but their output is inefficient, so they can also be classified as non-value adding, so they should be eliminated. Hence value added activities also have an optimal output level. Okay, so for the formulas, if you would want to determine, okay, the value added cost and non-value added cost, so these are the formulas that you can use. So for the value added cost, these are SQ times SP. Okay, what do we mean by SQ? SQ is the value added output level of or for an activity. SP is standard price per unit of activity output measure. Okay, so that's for value added costs. For the non-value added costs, our formula is, okay, so the product of AQ minus SQ will be multiplied to SP. Okay, so SQ and SP were already defined. What about AQ? So AQ is the actual quantity used of flexible resources, or the practical activity capacity acquired for committed resources. So of course, in classifying these costs, you have to, or the management should determine if they are indeed value adding or non-value adding. Okay, so those are for reporting the value added and non-value added activities or costs. So we go to the next um, portion of financial measures of activity. So the second is the trend reporting, okay, of non-value added cost. So here, the trend report will reveal the amount of cost reductions that are still available. So meaning to say, out of those which are eliminated, there are still non-value adding costs that exists and still to be needs to be eliminated. Okay, so cost reduction for value added activities focus on increasing the efficiency if that is possible. Okay, so that it will not be eliminated. Especially this case is um, if those activities are actually necessary and however they are performed inefficiently or their output is inefficient. Okay, so there is still room for improvement for those. Okay, so while the cost reduction goal for non-value added activities is their eventual elimination if not improved. Okay, so those are the first two, okay, for our financial measures